So, Veronica, how was your day?
Oh, it was good. Yeah, pretty standard day. How about you?
It was good, thanks. But you know that question, how was your day? It's probably one of the most common questions in English. But the answer we just gave, it was good, is kind of a conversation ender, isn't it?
That's so true. It's like a reflex. You don't even think about it.
Exactly. And that's actually what we're going to talk about today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to English with Adam. I'm Adam.
And I'm Veronica. We're so glad you could join us.
Today, we're diving into a super practical skill, how to talk about your day in English. We want to help you move past "it was good" and into conversations that are much more interesting and, well, connecting.
Because that's the whole point of learning a language, right? To actually connect with people. And sharing a little piece of your day is a huge part of that.
It really is. Think about it. When you meet a friend for coffee or get home from work, this is the first thing you talk about. And if you can tell a little story about your day, it really helps build relationships. So we've got 5 simple tips to help you do just that. Ready to start with tip number 1?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. Tip number 1 is to expand your vocabulary beyond good and bad. These words are fine, but they don't really paint a picture.
Okay, so what are some better words we could use?
Great question. Well, instead of good, you could say your day was productive, or maybe it was relaxing. If you were really busy, you could say it was hectic.
Ooh, I like hectic. It sounds so much more descriptive, like you can almost feel the busyness.
Exactly. Or if not much happened, you could say it was pretty uneventful. On the other hand, if a lot happened, it was eventful. And if your day was just average, you could say it was pretty typical or just another day. It adds a little more personality. And on the flip side, instead of just a bad day, you could say it was draining if you felt tired, or frustrating if things weren't going your way. Maybe it was even a bit of a nightmare if everything went wrong.
That makes sense. It immediately gives the other person more information to ask a follow-up question about, like, oh, why was it so hectic?
You got it. That's the key. Okay, so that leads us perfectly into tip number 2. Give your story a simple structure. Don't just list random things that happened. The easiest way to do this is to tell it in chronological order.
Right, like start with the morning, then the afternoon, then the evening.
Precisely. It's the most natural way to tell a story, and it's easy for the listener to follow along. You don't have to give every single detail, of course. Just pick 1 or 2 things from each part of the day. For example, well, this morning I had a big presentation at work, which went pretty well. Then this afternoon, I just had to catch up on emails, and so on.
I think that also takes the pressure off. You don't have to find the most interesting thing. You can just walk them through it.
That's a fantastic point. It really does. Now, to make that structure even clearer, we can use tip number 3. Use connecting words. These are like little signposts in your story.
You mean words like first and then?
Yes, first, then, next, after that, later on, finally, they're all incredibly useful. They guide your listener through the sequence of events. So instead of saying, I went to the gym, I went to the supermarket, you can say, first, I went to the gym, and after that, I stopped by the supermarket. It just sounds so much more fluent.
It really does flow better. It's such a simple change, but it makes a big difference in how natural you sound.
It's a game changer. Okay, moving on to tip number 4. And this might be the most important one for making your story interesting. Talk about your feelings and thoughts, not just your action.
Okay, so like how things made you feel.
Yeah, a list of activities is, well, it's a bit boring, but adding your emotions is what brings it to life. For instance, instead of just saying, I had a meeting with my boss, you could say, I had a meeting with my boss that I was a little nervous about, but actually I was relieved because it went really well.
That's a fantastic example. It tells you so much more about the person's experience. You feel like you were there with them. It's more human.
Human is the perfect word for it. It creates empathy and connection. You could say you were excited about something, annoyed by the traffic, surprised to see an old friend, or happy to finally get home. These details make all the difference.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try and use that one more often.
Awesome. And that brings us to our final tip for today. Tip number 5. Practice with the simple past tense. This is more of a grammar point, but it's essential. When you're talking about your day, most of it has already happened, so you'll be using the past tense almost constantly.
Right, so things like I woke up, I had coffee, I drove to work, all those ed verbs and irregular verbs.
Yes, exactly. It might seem basic, but getting comfortable with the simple past is the foundation for telling any story about what happened. So, a great way to practice is to just take a minute at the end of each day and tell yourself, or a friend, or even your pet, what you did.
I love that idea, low pressure practice. So, could we do a quick recap of all 5 tips?
Of course. So, tip 1, expand your vocabulary beyond good. Use words like hectic, productive, or relaxing. Tip 2, structure your story chronologically, morning, afternoon, evening. Tip 3, use connecting words like first, then, and after that to create flow.
And tip 4 was to add your feelings and thoughts to make it interesting.
You got it. And finally, tip 5, practice using the simple past tense, since that's what you'll use most. And that's really it. If you can try to incorporate even 1 or 2 of these tips, your conversations will instantly become more engaging.
That feels so much more manageable. You don't have to be a perfect storyteller, you just need a few tools.
That's the spirit. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We hope you found these tips helpful.
Yes, and if you did, we'd love it if you could like this episode and subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss the next one. And now for a little bit of homework.
Homework?
The fun kind. We want you to practice. Leave a comment below and tell us, how was your day? Try to use one of the tips we talked about today.
That's a great idea. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Until next time on English with Adam.
Bye, everyone.